Dobro večer, hvala.
Thank you very much for inviting me today. I would like to especially thank Mr. Slapnik, who realized that we have a good example which we can follow and present at today's conference. We could also talk about Montperin as an example of social entrepreneurship in a small community, or I could also speak about sustainable development, because our project was conceived as such that it will capitalize on our potential. But instead, we called our presentation Vale Today, how we restored a smile on the faces of our citizens. In a nutshell, to be as brief as possible, I will present you one experiment which took about 8 years, but maybe it is best to highlight what was our misfortune, what was our accident. Namely, our municipality was marginalized because we had two big centers, Pula and Rovinj, and we were stuck somewhere in between. And we have always been left aside, we have been put at the margins. Therefore, we decided that we will try to make an attempt to move things forward. So this was our fortune, and we wanted to make sure that we will transfer this tourist potential into a story. And you know that we have the very famous Riviera, and we made use of policies called Go Local. In this way, we discovered, revived and used our local resources and potentials. We had a very comprehensive analysis made in order to discover and revive our local potential, which we undoubtedly have. What did we have in mind? We said that outsiders will not dictate our policy and that we shouldn't wait. If we want to wait for politicians to take decisions, we will come nowhere, which is why we took our destiny into our own hands. We said enough, and we wanted to proceed. So what do I mean if I say we wanted to take our destiny into our own hands? This meant that we should not wait for somebody to do something, but we should capitalize on what we have. We were well aware that we have a territory approximately of 80 square meters. We had about 9.5 kilometers of the coastline, and because of some political investments, political projects, this wanted to be misappropriated by some political authorities. But at that time, we said that we will really take charge of things and that we will make sure that we are responsible for our own development. Therefore, we will cooperate with our local population and with all stakeholders present in the local environment. In this way, we will coordinate our political activities at the local level, which in turn we will have sustainable forms of operation and development, which will be free from political influence and changes in the central government. In other words, we all expect that if the government changes hand, if we have different local councillors, then at the outset we have to start things over, we need to change things, we need to appoint new people. But we said we will stop here. We had an independent party which was not linked to any political formation, it was not linked to any political party. In Istria, our region, we have for 20 years just one party which was in power. They offered to us one master plan. But what would this master plan be? We would still be sidelined, but we decided that we will take a different approach. And we decided that we will join forces because we realize that we have leaders with a vision who are of the same age. Let me mention one person, one visionary. His name is our friend Pia Kukurin, a long-standing manager within the Adris group. He comes from Bale, our municipality. He decided that he will join forces with his contemporaries and that he will include different categories of people of different age, of different profession, and that he will make sure that we follow the principles of transparency and consensus, and that we will indeed talk to every person individually. So we established very active partnership. We cooperated with regional and local authorities, but we said that we will not wait for them to give us something. In other words, we stop imitating and copy others, because we are different. We have, and we in fact inhabit a different territory. And what we did, we reached a consensus with all political associations and political parties. So all independent associations which were present on our territory were joined, and we did one thing, which was the most important thing. Namely, we commissioned a study on the development of our coastal area as well as our municipality and town. I will not dwell on that because I don't have time, but after 1 year, on account of this leadership managed by the gentleman I referred to earlier, I will broadcast and show you a very brief film which lasts for about 6 minutes. And we saw where our prospects lie, what is our competitive edge, and where are our particularities. Just briefly, I will show you this film. This is my colleague who also participated later, and we also have a number of young people who were schooled, who were trained, and they were given an opportunity to not just be tourist workers, the tourist officials, who will merely be present in a very small local environment, but they will be managers, they will take charge of the project. And this monitoring project will be then discussed by me after I show you the film. This film was elaborated 5 years ago. It helped us to reach our main objectives, and today I can say with pride that about 70% of things mentioned in the film were successfully completed. In order to get there, I can tell you as follows. Of course, we found at that time that we didn't have enough money in the budget, and this happened in 2003. It amounted to 3.8 million kunas, but today our total budget has more than 16 million kunas. All this because we introduced new management styles and structures, helping us to attract new investors, new people who have been willing to cooperate, as we showed our master plan, and they regarded Bale as a destination for life. They gave us donations, they paid taxes without selling any square meter of our property and land. And another thing which we can all admire is this. Within a 1-year period, we managed to have a new hall installed and constructed. So it took us 1 year from the decision to the complete construction. And this hall is the most beautiful hall globally. You can see it here on the slide. This is an example of integrated architecture in the local historical center. And it has been given the first prize in the Barcelona contest. And after that, as far as the coastline is concerned, we also signed a contract. We gave 100 hectares as a concession to our producers. We have one of the most important olive oil brands in the region. As I have said, nature is unspoiled, and within the coastline, our project has been implemented successfully. We have an experimental design called Montperin. It is conceived in such a way that, on the basis of the consensus among the local population, Montperin entered into negotiation with the entire population of Montperin and our friends throughout Croatia, and we said that we will set up a trading company which is linked to our today's contribution. I could call it maybe consortium, maybe cooperative, I don't know what might be the right term, but every every municipal member was able to contribute because there was a ceiling set up so that it could not happen that we should just have one individual taking charge. And we have been able to persuade our local population that we should offer a high-quality social contract which will help them to manage 9 kilometers of this coastline and about 270 hectares of the area surrounding it. So with the amount of 50,000 kunas they have invested, they have been able to make sure that this project is successfully thriving. And the municipality as such has been owned, and it has the so-called golden share, golden stake, and with 50,000 kunas they have invested, we have a well-developed social contract, and it has 10% of votes. And it impacts employment policies, preventing to change the head office of this company, of this cooperative. So the head office, regardless of changes in the government, in the political spectrum, we will still have such system that municipal population will be owners without selling the property, and this will be left to future generations. People have identified this potential, and I would like to ask my friend to go back to this slide. So people are now persuaded that things are functioning well, and the economy of Bale grew, it developed in the period of 2003 to 2009 in such a way that we have artisans, we have legal entities. So it grew exponentially, and today we have 88 entities. They work, they manage things, and they live in the area. I can only tell you that in this period, the price of property grew from 20 euro per square meter to 150 euro per square meter. So this is our pricing policy. I would also like to mention one thing. When establishing our Montperin project, we were very successful in terms of promotion, and it was tailor-made to suit the needs of our people, which is why we set up one society, and we had 30,000 million kunas, and we still have this capital at hand. So we received a concession for 50 years. We organized public tenders. In this way, we have been able to employ young people, so they directly and indirectly work in our campsites, and we have employed more than 80 people. Our population is 1,000, which means that we have more than 10% of people who merely work in our camp and our society called Montperin. And then another thing, and we can be extremely proud of this, and we can also present our results, namely that as of 2005 until today, the number of overnight stays in our camp grew from 59,000 at the beginning to 153,000. So now we have a new, young and well-trained management, which helped us to succeed. So at the outset, we had just 3% of trained professionals with university education. Today, this ratio is 17% of university-educated professionals and young people. Then another thing I would like to mention, our association started in 2005. Our turnover was 2.5 million kunas. Today, this turnover is 13.6 million kunas. As for the profit generated by our association in 2005, we started with 0 today. Our EBIT is 4.3 million kunas, and I can tell you today, nobody has heard about that, even not our shareholders, that this year for the first time we will also distribute dividends. It will be about 4%. And another thing which is also very important, throughout this period from 2006 until the 30th of September 2012, we have generated investments in the area amounting to 32 million kunas. In the past, we just generated profits from camping sites and this coastline area, and profits were about 50,000 kunas per camp. But today we have more than 1.5 million kunas. So owing to the work and efforts by the Montperin Association, this rate was 23% in 2010. So this was within the municipality budget, and today Montperin accounts for 16% of the municipality budget. Statistical data do not signify much, but we have managed also to do one thing. Namely, we have managed as the association, which has a good team and which today also has trained individuals who are willing to educate and to apply for European funding. So we also applied for pre-accession aid. We don't have any outsourcing done, but we have our own individuals, which is very important. So we have been able to address one problem, namely to resolve land property rights in the area. We have been coordinating things at the municipal level. And another thing I would also like to draw your attention to, Bale managed to do something which didn't happen anywhere in Croatia, namely every family which earns an average income in Bale, where they have 2 people employed and have about 9,000 kuna plus 2 children. For this family, we have about 8,000 given to our municipality every year. So we have the system of subsidies, of grants for transport. We also have aid awarded to retired people. And we also have loans which are provided. Therefore, we also pay interest rates, and we have provided more than 100 loans in order to restore our environment. So we have been able to negotiate with banks for the most favorable interest rates, and there were about 60 to 70 facades which were restored. So this is no longer simulation, what you have seen, but these facades have been successfully completed and restored. So, of course, to speak about the goal of our project, I will tell you once again, we took charge, we took responsibility in our own hands, and let me also mention one thing, this value added for the entire project is such that we have restored the smile on the faces of our citizens. Thank you very much.